Parshas Ki Sisa Parah, Tavshin Ayin Zayin. We're here once again. Purim has passed us by. Just another couple of weeks to Geulas Mitzrayim. The next couple of weeks are going to be a build-up to the Yom Tov of Pesach. We're not going to begin yet. This week we will not begin talking about Pesach yet, because once we get into Pesach, there's like no looking back. So this week we're still going to discuss some of the inyanim on the Parshas Ki Sisa this week. And really, this Parsha speaks about many, many different things. And you know, right between speaking about the Machzis HaShekel, the Kiyor, the Ketores, the Maisei Egel, so many different things transpire in this week's Parsha. And right in middle, stuck in middle over there, just before Sheni, as you know, in this week's Parsha, the first Aliyah till Sheni, and then from Sheni to Shlishi, is you have to have good shoes if you're standing. It's a very, very long Kriyas Torah until Shlishi. So right when you come to Sheni, in middle of discussing all the things we just mentioned, and right before discussing the episode of the Egel, the Torah puts right in there something very interesting. And that is the inyan, the very lofty inyan of Shabbos. Now anybody who learns Nesivos Shalom, anybody who spent almost now, we're in our 8th year, Baruch Hashem, of doing Shiurim, anyone who has any connection to Nesivos Shalom knows that the one inyan, if there has to be one dominant inyan in the entirety of Nesivos Shalom, that is the inyan of Shabbos. Everything leads to Shabbos. Shabbos is everything. Shabbos could bring a person back from anywhere. Nesivos Shalom and Shabbos is Kodesh Kadoshim. So it's a special privilege for me to bring you one of the most prominent themes of the Nesivos Shalom by discussing the Shabbos in this week's Parsha. And the Pasuk tells us as following. Ach eshabsoisai tishmoiru. You should keep my Shabbosos, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says. Why? Ki ois hi beini uveinechem. It is a sign, it is an ois between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Klal Yisrael. Lo das, to let you know, ki ani Hashem mikadishchem. And that's the first pasuk that we find about, that is the first saying about Shabbos in the Parsha. But then it goes right on and says something else. And this pasuk everybody's a bit more familiar with. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael es ha-Shabbos. Klal Yisrael, v'shamru, you should keep Shabbos. La'asois es ha-Shabbos u'dorisam b'ris olam. We know that pasuk we're more familiar with. Another pasuk about Shabbos. So the first question that the Nesivos Shalom asks here is, why does the Torah use in the first pasuk Ach eshabsoisai tishmoru? In the next pasuk it says V'shamru b'nei Yisrael es ha-Shabbos, and we know there is only one Shabbos each week. What is Ach eshabsoisai? It would seem that there is more than one Shabbos. There are many Shabbosos. Why is it that way? And so too, why by V'shamru in the second pasuk it says something a little different than the first pasuk too? V'shamru b'nei Yisrael. All of a sudden we refer to those who keep Shabbos as b'nei Yisrael. In the first pasuk it's Ach eshabsoisai. I'm just speaking a general commandment, everybody. But V'shamru b'nei Yisrael es ha-Shabbos. When we speak about Shmira Shabbos, we are talking to b'nei Yisrael. Why? Another thing that the Nesivos Shalom wants to know, just a small question, is why do we say la'asois es ha-Shabbos? V'shamru b'nei Yisrael es ha-Shabbos. La'asois, what does it mean to make the Shabbos? To do. What does that mean? The word, what does the word la'asois mean? So the Nesivos Shalom answers with a beautiful yisai, and he says like this. Do you know what es-shabsoisai, the plural lashon of Shabbosos, means? This refers to the two different aspects of Shabbos that every person encounters in their lives. What is the first Shabbos? Nesivos Shalom says the first Shabbos that we know about is Shabbos that is the sign. Like we say, Ki oisi, Shabbos is a sign. Now what do we mean when Shabbos is a sign? Shabbos is something that is extremely, extremely holy. That's one type of Shabbos. The Shabbos, the day of the week, that is extremely holy. And there's a special godly holiness on Shabbos, and that permeates every aspect of our being. It permeates our minds. It permeates our hearts, our limbs. Shabbos takes us over, and it changes the way we think. We get the mind, a moyach of Shabbos. Shabbos takes us over. It goes over our limbs, over our minds, over our thoughts, everything, and we now have a different mind, a different mindset, and a different mind than we had the entire week. Our inclinations on Shabbos are therefore different than they are the rest of the week. And that is one type of Shabbos, the Shabbos of our body, the Shabbos of our limbs, the Shabbos of our actions. On that, the Torah says, Mechalaleha mois yumas. That a person who's Mechal Shabbos, in that regard, mois yumas, and what does that mean? Mechalaleha, Sfarim HaKdoshim tell us, and it's brought down in the Nesivos Shalom too, that the Lashon of Mechalaleha is one of a halal, is one of a whole. That somebody who violates the Shabbos, you create a halal. You create a hole. In other words, you're not whole with a W anymore. You create a halal, you create a hole in the Shabbos. And it's a void in the Shabbos. We are whole with our heart and our mind and our body, and we're overcome Kedusha when we keep the Shabbos. But one who does not keep the Shabbos, there's a void. And that is Mechalaleha mois yumas. You're causing this void when your limbs and your body, when you violate the Shabbos. That's one aspect of Shabbos. The second aspect of Shabbos is different. It's not the Shabbos of overcoming holiness. The second aspect of Shabbos is the Shabbos of Vishamru B'nai Yisrael. And that is the Shabbos that can do something for every member of Klal Yisrael. Vishamru B'nai Yisrael. No matter where you are or where you're holding in your life, Shabbos could still lift you up. The answer, the lifeline that you can grab onto, no matter what you've done the whole week, and no matter how far you may have strayed, you could be saved by the Shabbos. And that is Vishamru B'nai Yisrael. It's a Shabbos that's there for everybody. We're not talking now of this lofty, holy Shabbos that we were speaking about before. We're speaking about the Shabbos that Hashem gave to every single Jew. And this is everyone's Shabbos. And therefore the Pasuk says, V'shamru B'nai Yisrael. Nobody is left out. Every person in Klal Yisrael has this gift of Shabbos. And the Mechilta tells us a very, very interesting thing. And he says like this, Kol HaMeshamer Shabbos Achas. Anyone who keeps one Shabbos, Ketikuna. Anyone who keeps Shabbos Achas Ketikuna the way it's supposed to be. And listen to this unbelievable Mechilta. Ma'aleh Olav HaKasuv. The Torah, the Pasuk teaches us that one who keeps Shabbos the way it should be, Ke'ilu Shomer Shabbosos, as if you were Shomer and you kept every Shabbos, Miyoim Shabara HaKadosh Baruch Hu Selamai, Ad Sheyichyu HaMesim. If you keep one Shabbos the way it's supposed to be kept, Hashem, the Pasuk, it's a remnant from the Pasuk, Hashem is telling you, I will give you schar like you kept every Shabbos from the day the world was created until the day that there's going to be Tchias HaMesim. Because the Pasuk says, V'shamru B'nai Yisrael as HaShabbos. Everything can come together and be considered one Shabbos. It's all one. But there's a catchphrase in the Mechilta, says in Nesivos Shalom. And that catchphrase is Ketikuna. Somebody who keeps the Shabbos the way you're supposed to keep that. Okay, very nice. What does that mean? What does it mean that somebody should keep the Shabbos the way it was meant to be? It says in the Nesivos Shalom. If a person just goes through the motions of Shabbos, yes, we know the halachas. Don't violate the Shabbos. Don't drive a car. Don't do the things that you're not supposed to do on the Shabbos. If that is your whole Shabbos, if you're just not doing the malachas, then each Shabbos stands on its own. Each With Shabbos, you keep this Shabbos, you get schar for this Shabbos. You keep the next Shabbos, you get schar for that Shabbos. But if a person looks at Shabbos differently, if a person is Shomer Shabbos Kitikuna, where you celebrate not the day of Shabbos, you celebrate the essence of what Shabbos is standing for, then all the Shabbosos become like one, because Shabbos becomes part of you. And you are a part of Shabbos, and Shabbos is a part of you. And therefore, if you keep the Shabbos the way you're supposed to, where you are keeping Shabbos, not just the malachos, where you inculcate the lessons of Shabbos, and Shabbos becomes part of you, you receive schar like somebody who would keep every single Shabbos from time eternal, from the beginning of creation, until Tchias HaMeisiv, until Emet Hashem, when Mashiach comes. And Nesivos Shalom is always giving people chizuk, because it sounds like a very, very tough thing to do. Nesivos Shalom says, if you think about it, you know that this can really give every single person a lot of confidence. Because what happens? It says like this: we come to a Shabbos, tomorrow afternoon, it's Friday afternoon, and you're coming before Shabbos, a person thinks to himself, okay, we just found out how holy Shabbos is. What did I do this week? Was I really, really that good that I should be zoicha, I should merit being that close to a Shabbos? How can I go into a Shabbos after the way I spent the past 6 days of the week? The answer, says in Nesivos Shalom, lies in this emunah, in the belief in the koyach of Shabbos, and the Shabbos that's for everybody, the Shabbos that's for Bnei Yisrael, the belief that I know that no matter, I may regret what I've done, and I want to be better next week, but that doesn't preclude me from being connected to Shabbos. There's V'shamru Bnei Yisrael. Shabbos belongs to every single person, and even if you never kept the Shabbos before, you can start now. You can start with this Shabbos. Wherever you may be holding at that moment, wherever your level of ruchnius is at that moment, Hashem wants you. Hashem wants you to connect. V'shamru B'nei Yisrael. And if you commit, and you embrace, and you accept the Shabbos, then Shabbos accepts and embraces you. And this is what we have to remember. Kol HaShomer Shabbos Kitikuna. Kitikuna means let's not just go through the motions. Let us show when we come to a Shabbos, we eat differently, we sleep differently, we talk to our family differently, we daven differently, we learn differently, we're a different person. Yes, we strive to where we can get to that other aspect of Shabbos where it's going to take us over, where it's going to be so holy, where it goes to every part of our body. But we need to know that in order to get to that goal, you can't get down on yourself. You can't get depressed and say, oh, I'm living so many years old already and I never know. Tomorrow is the time to start. Tomorrow is the time to start that both aspects of Shabbos are for me. Yes, I have to start with V'shamru B'nei Yisrael as a Shabbos. There's a Shabbos that every year can grab onto. But my goal is to one day reach that when I go into Shabbos, it takes me over. And that is the godless of Shabbos, says in Nesivos Shalom. And that's the lesson that we can learn, just like we could learn from every Yontif when it comes around. Every 7 days, when Shabbos comes around, we get another chance. We get the chance to keep Shabbos again. And that is the lesson of this week's Parsha. The lesson of how we are going to begin to keep the Shabbos.
Let's make it